Police arrest suspect in D.C. pipe bomb case after 5-year investigation that they've been talking about. So remember when this happened, the timing of it, right? So people have forgotten about it. You know, some haven't forgotten about it. Some have. Some have kind of moved on because we've had so many different stories that we have going on here. A suspect who allegedly planted pipe bomb blocks from U.S. Capitol on January 5th, 2021 is now federal custody after a nearly 5-year investigation. Law enforcement sources told Fox News Digital on Thursday video footage released by the FBI showed an unidentified person placing the pipe bombs near two headquarters more than 16 hours before law enforcement found them. The suspect was seen wearing a gray hoodie, Nike Air Max Speed Turf sneakers, a mask, glasses, and gloves, but the person's identity had long been unknown. And the initial investigation had shown in under 2 months, by the end of February 2020, a possible result of credible leads drying up at the time. According to a congressional report, authorities discovered the two pipe bombs near the Republican and Democrat National Committee headquarters around the same time that thousands of protesters a few blocks away began to descend on the Capitol over 2020 elections. The bombs were described as visible and could have exploded at any time, according to the FBI. The suspect arrest comes after a renewed push by the FBI to solve the case, including the release of new video footage and a $500,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person responsible. Go ahead, Rob.
This was the work of multiple agencies working together. This morning's operation was carried out safely and successfully. We know that there are so many issues when you're issuing search warrants. Dangerous things can happen, and this was carried out safely and securely thanks to all of the people standing around me. They have worked tirelessly on this. Today's arrest happened because the Trump administration has made this case a priority. The total lack of movement on this case in our nation's capital undermined the public trust of our enforcement agencies. This cold case languished for 4 years until Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino came to the FBI. The FBI, along with U.S. Attorney Pirro and all of our prosecutors, have worked tirelessly for months, sifting through evidence that had been sitting at the FBI with the Biden administration for 4 long years. Let me be clear, there was no new tip, there was no new witness.
So they've known this entire time.
Diligent
of course they
police
did.
work
And they didn't want to report it.
Of course
so
not.
What clip do you want to show me
Okay,
with
so
the white man?
Okay, so guys, we talked about this yesterday, Pat, with our friend that was here yesterday. Guys, the entire movement of why I think America started waking up is the moment that Jim Acosta was talking crap to the president in 2016, and he said, I'm not going to give you any questions. You're fake news. And that moment, you'd think CNN would realize, after all the firing, Pat, after losing all the money, Jake Tapper, another guy who acted like he didn't know about Biden's mental decline, writes the book blaming everybody. You can't make this up. I had to check this 5 times to make sure it wasn't AI. Look at him describing the guy, Brian Cole Jr., as what? Go ahead, Rob. This is a joke.
Welcome to the lead. I'm Jake Tapper.
This is
After
when?
nearly
Yesterday.
5 years of investigation, the FBI finally announced that they had arrested a suspect accused of planting pipe bombs near the Republican and Democratic National Committee headquarters the night before the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack. Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs, is charged with transporting an explosive
device
in
No, it's not.
That's the white guy right there?
and
This
with
is not
malicious
AI
destruction
edited.
by means of
Stop.
explosions.
White
seen in
guy.
observed
That's the
white guy right
Go
there?
back again, Rob. Go back again, like when he says that. Go back a little bit. No, 5 seconds right there. Go ahead.
Attack. Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs, is charged with transporting
Because he's in
an
the suburbs.
explosive device in interstate commerce and with malicious destruction
That's him.
by means of explosions. CNN observed local and federal law enforcement outside his home.
Rob. Now, let me just give you a little backstory about this. And again, they're saying it is who he is. I don't know how tall this guy is, the Brian Cole, but the videos, Pat, if you see it, it's a 5'7". That's why it looked kind of weird. But now, I don't know how tall this guy is. We're going to find out. But his dad owns Statewide Bonding, Inc., Virginia-based immigration bail bond company. Think about this. The family built business, they were built on freeing illegal immigrants from ICE custody, and that same business sued the prior administration's DHS in 2019 over discrimination, okay? And think about this. This makes sense if this is him, why they held it for 4 years. He's a young black guy who was anti-Trump, all right? He sued Trump. He sued ICE. He sued the DHS. He pushed radical justice causes and worked at the family bond place. And think about it. They didn't lose him, Tom. They had receipts. They had his license plate number. They had phone data. They had the footage. They knew exactly who he was. They could have exposed him. But the narrative was, let's put something to distract all law enforcement. Because, Pat, because of this, all law enforcement was diverted from January 6th, and they were worrying about this guy. They were worrying about this white supremacist, white guy from the suburbs, as Jake Tapper says it, and it was all on purpose, okay? And I genuinely, this is my opinion, Christopher Wray, who was in charge of the FBI, Tommy, needs to be investigated, just like Jim Comey.
Agree.
All right? He had 13% of the FBI going after January 6th cases. That's 5,000 out of 38,000 people hunting grandmothers, grandfathers, people that weren't even in Washington that day. That's
including getting over petabytes of information where they help identify people who are wearing winter gear and covered up by the way they walked and their anticipated height. So they took that action of people that were on the thing, but they had all sorts of street footage, and they couldn't find this guy for 5 years.
Yeah, so for 5 years, and then
I just want to make sure I understood.
No, you get it. And then it's weird that they come in and they find him like that. It's the narrative. January 6th was a setup from the beginning. And if you think about it, the pipe bombs didn't go off because then they know they'd be in a world of crap. But look at how this FBI, and I want people to understand, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, all these people, good job. They're doing something. We have criticized them in the past. But think about all the agents, Tom, that are still in the FBI that still have that hate, that still would do the color revolution that we keep talking about. Just because they're in charge doesn't mean anything. Those people are still involved, just like the Lisa Pages, just like the freaking Peter Strzok.
There's like 5 stories here you're covering. First, you have the CNN. By the way, this is CNN's habit, Pat. Remember George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin, and George Zimmerman, you know the 2 networks that took the most heat for calling him a white Hispanic? Do you remember that?
Yep.
George Zimmerman, the white Hispanic that gunned down Trayvon Martin. No, they didn't wrestle on the ground. He wasn't trying to get him. He wasn't shot that way. He gunned him down, right? And George Zimmerman was a white Hispanic. And CNN, ladies and gentlemen, CNN, Jake Tapper, and NBC took the most hit for using, which one coined it? Uncertain, but they both used it to death, and now they're using this. And by the way, do you know who's responsible for the Ukraine war? A white Russian named Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
No, it's coming, right? Everything's white first. They're showing you what they're going to do. That's one story. Now you have the cover-up. Now you have petabytes of information, but they choose not to look at it until now, and then they finally look at this guy. This is incredible.
And you know why? If you think about it, guys, Trump wasn't supposed to win. Their plan, their entire plan, this wasn't supposed to come to pass. Their plan was jail him, destroy him. That didn't work. Shoot him in the freaking head. Didn't work because they hire people that have shitty aim. And we are where we are. And I mean, and Tom, I get it because I'm impatient. I have to work on my patience. I want it faster. I have the hope. I have the faith. But come on, like the Comey and Tish James, they just got their cases, kind of dismissed, but they're gonna keep going back after them. Because I'm telling you,
there's another dismissal yesterday.
Yeah, this is huge. This is huge, and it exposes them.
This investigation took 5 years.
No, Adam. For Kash Patel, less than a year. Less than a year to find the guy that they buried the story.
Because you're tracking the story a little bit more than me. Are you saying that under the Biden administration, this guy was just walking around, they did nothing?
Nothing, Adam, nothing. So they knew where he was. My opinion, you can't be that stupid. Adam, you can't be that stupid. But they lost the case on November 10th, 2020. They lost the case. This is humiliation for the FBI.
We'll put the files in Biden's garage. Even he'll forget about it.
Yeah, exactly.
They found the pipe bombs next to the RNC and the DNC. So this guy he was just sowing chaos? Well, he wasn't exactly aligned with
But here's the
party,
thing.
huh?
What was his motive? To distract Adam. When you have bombs in Washington, do you know how many cops and everybody's distracted looking that way so that the January 6th mayhem can go exactly the way that they want it. And Nancy Pelosi could say, I don't want the National Guard. It's all, guys, and for how many years? It's been 5 years, and it was, oh my God, the biggest threat to democracy. We even had that maniac. Who was the guy? The guy
Steve Schmidt?
Steve Schmidt.
Oh, your boy?
If January 6th was worse than 9/11. Shut up. That's the narrative that they wanted to push with the Lincoln Project. This is a joke. It was a joke. They provoked those people, and this is where we are today.
This sort of has intel, sniffs of intel, doesn't it? The pipe bombs are put at 2 locations, number one. Number two, they said, well, those pipe bombs were viable. There was real explosives. It could have been done. And they won't tell us, though, was there a timer in it? Was the timer not set properly? Was this appear to be professionally designed? The FBI, believe it or not, has a database on all the types of bombs that are used because they know which groups circulate documents to each other on the how-tos. There's how-tos out there among these groups. And I was reading last night that says the FBI needs to come out and tell us what was the design of the bombs, what do you suspect was the source, because they can tell you, oh, those are Middle East guys did it that way.
Yeah.
These guys do it that way. All they say, well, no, they were viable bombs, but they didn't go off. Why didn't they go off? In your professional bomb expert opinion.
Yeah, and mind you,
Tom,
Pat,
those are important details. I just want to understand one thing. What was his motive? Why is he doing this? Who was paying him? What was his motivation?
Well, Adam,
what is he looking to
that
do?
is a
What team is he on?
That's a great
that
question.
To me is the first
hold on,
question.
but if you think about it, if you had to assume, why would he be on the Republican? He's anti-Trump, anti-this, loves Antifa, or whatever the hell. All these facts. This is I'm telling you right now. You got to give them credit. They are so good because it almost worked.
By the way, Rob, what's the story about? If it does work, Kamala Harris was by the DNC. Is that the story? If you want to maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, in fact, she was reportedly at the DNC headquarters the morning of January 6th. Apparently, she was in the vicinity of where, if these explosive devices had gone off, she would have been injured or worse. They actually asked Pam Bondi about that yesterday, because you never hear the vice president-elect was almost assassinated in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. You never hear that narrative, but it almost happened. Pam Bondi was asked about that yesterday.
Oh, this is it?
Yep.
Go for it.
Any theory on why Kamala Harris has never mentioned coming within 20 feet of being assassinated, and any news on why her Secret Service team took so long to find this bomb at the DNC?
No, but what I will tell you is that evidence has been sitting there collecting dust. This wasn't a new tip. It wasn't some new evidence. It was the hard work of President Trump's administration, Deputy Director Bongino and Director Patel. I watched them from day one come in here and say, we are going to solve this crime. And they did, working hand in hand with U.S. Attorney Pirro and all of our great attorneys.
I hope during the investigation, he actually has the Brian guy to say, who did it? Who told you? Because if you really think about it, the insurrection act that they were going to try to use to not let the president run again, this was the main thing that put it over the hump, Pat. Like, you guys had white supremacist pipe bombs. Oh, he can't be the president. And look at how...
If the Biden administration knew about it, Pat, wouldn't they have invented phrases like insurrectionists and potential assassins?
Exactly.
Wouldn't they have invented that and tagged that onto it if there was a half a block possibility that Kamala could have been injured?
What I want to know
worse?
is, okay, so...
That seems odd to me.
So now that they're showing us that we know who this white man was, okay, that did what he
Cracker.
did. Okay, so now tell us why he did that, okay? Take it a step ahead and tell us why he did that so the American people can find out. Because if this was sitting there... Find out. Have you interviewed him? Is he still around, by the way? Is he dead? Is he alive? Is he?
He's alive.
He's
He was
arrested.
taken into custody.
And Rob, show us how. Let
in
Pat
custody.
show us
That's the
how.
whole thing.
Patrick, Z bad too. Not shy. Look at the look. He's
He lives in a cul-de-sac.
Look, yeah, you live in a cul-de-sac, bro. You're
Okay.
doing
The nicest
well.
house at the end of the street.
You got to
Okay,
find
well.
out why he did it, who he's connected to, messages, emails, exchanges. You should be able to find out. You know, even the best criminals out there, you should be able to find out what the motive behind what they were doing. Anyways, I want to get to the next story with this. If you want to give your final thoughts,
No, just
we'll
say
go to
one
the next
thing.
story.
Don't look now, but it seems like the Trump administration, all these guys are very much aligned and unified. Epstein thing aside, where Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino, we're all catching beef. Oh my God, what's going on? Seems like everybody's falling in line right now. That's all I'm saying.
Unified on this topic?
Just in general.
No,
it
I don't-
seems like they're a little bit more unified.
I don't know.
Than the
I don't-
gaslighting that was going on.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You don't think
No,
so?
I
They're
don't-
standing there together.
No,
No,
that's,
no.
Well, that's the cash.
Who is aligned? The Bongino.
Trump administration.
Yeah. On this issue, sure. And by the way, to be honest with you, I think Bondi is trying to keep her job. Yeah. Okay. I think that's what she's trying to do. You know, Bondi's trying to keep her job, and she has to have some victories. And there's been a lot of fumbles and the way things were handled. A lot of mishandling going on there. And they're trying to redo and reframe the reputation and come out and get some stuff out there. And this is a good beginning of what things could take place.
Yeah, I agree.
Hopefully, if they continue going. This year, for Merry Christmas, the hat we announced last year sold 3,000 like this within a couple days. This year, we're doing a limited edition one for today, Rob, if you want to show this up there. This is the limited edition Merry Christmas hat, numbered out of 250. On the side, it says Future Looks Bright. These will go in no time, by the way. If you're somebody that's proud to say Merry Christmas comfortably, place an order. Get this for somebody that's also proud to say Merry Christmas. This could make for a very, very good Christmas gift. And anybody that places an order, I believe this is for the first 100, if I'm not mistaken, Rob. Anybody that places an order gets a mug that says Future Looks Bright and Merry Christmas. And on this side, you get an ornament as well that says Merry Christmas. The Future Looks Bright edition sent your way. So go to vtmerch.com, place an order, Merry Christmas hat coming your way.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.